the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What is going on, Big Blue Nation? It is a full winning edition of All UK Ball as we got a massive win on Tuesday. Smack Duke around. Pooper Flagg still sucks. We got a big win against Murray State. I guess you call it a big win because it's Kentucky football and we haven't won in a long time. And then Kenny Brooks and the Lady Cats down the Cardinals in the Coliseum. Was an awesome game. Salena, I know you were there, so let's start with the most recent event first. How was that game, and what did you think about the Lady Cats and Kenny Brooks' first win against Louisville as a Kentucky coach?
Okay, so first off, the atmosphere was so good. Sold out, historic, Memorial Coliseum, completely sold out. Fans were very loud, very rowdy, very engaged. And I think that helped feed the team, right? So I love seeing the girls team get this sort of support. Fantastic. I love it. The team overall, they have a lot of really, really good pieces. They have great height, 6'7", 6'5", 6'4", fantastic height. But oh my goodness, we need another ball handler so bad.
Yes. Yeah.
Louisville, they did a lot of run-in traps, half-court traps on Georgia. They had a lot of turnovers because of that, right? She's not the tallest guard, granted, but she's the one that is definitely most comfortable handling the ball. And teams know she's also the one that makes the offense go completely. So definitely, Deja needs to be more comfortable handling the ball. I need Hassett to be more comfortable. Be more comfortable. She looked really uncomfortable first half. Hassett looked sort of, I don't know, not lost, but just uncomfortable first half. And then second half, pushing OT, she definitely kind of got over everything as far as that goes. But overall, though, they have a lot of younger, good pieces. I'm excited for. Kenny Brooks is a great coach. And they just signed 2 5-stars this week, so he's doing the thing in Lexington right now.
He's definitely doing
kicking butt.
Massive turnaround in a short period of time. It's pretty cool to see the parallels between both men's and women's basketball, both on the court performances and just what the new coaching staffs have done. We'll talk about the men's basketball team and the win against Duke. But again, like you mentioned, Georgia had her worst game of the season so far, if you look at it from the turnover margin. And she I think she ended up being the game high scorer, but it wasn't necessarily super efficient. 8 turnovers as we went into overtime. I don't know if she had any more. At that point, we got the win, so I wasn't really tracking that. But I did the little recap video and said the offense just looked kind of out of sync, and that's from exactly what you said. Just not another person who could handle the ball. And if they're gonna send folks who are 6, 7, 8 inches taller than Georgia to trap her, it's gonna make her hard to see the court and distribute like she's normally can do, and she has been, as she's been with Kenny Brooks. But like we saw with Jackson Robinson in the Duke game, you could tell the trust and comfort Kenny Brooks had in her because he didn't go away from her. He didn't go away from her. There was always the sideline communication. He just trusted her that she was gonna make the right play. And all in all, they get a tough, gritty win. Louisville did. I want to say they handed us the win, but they did 60% from the free throw line is what ended up winning us that ball game, because the turnovers and whatnot. And maybe that was a coaching tip. Maybe that was like kind of how Kenny Brooks, hey, we can be super aggressive on defense, because if we get into foul trouble, they have shown so far through the season they can't make those shots, especially in the clutch. But they also want to give credit to these girls, because when Amari, I think her name is, for Louisville, hit those 4 straight threes. And
oh my God. I was like, someone please guard her. Please guard her.
There was that, Cameron Mills says it all the time. It's like, if someone gets hot, it doesn't matter how close you guard them. The only way to keep them from scoring is ball denial and keep the ball out of their hands, right? Mm-hmm. And she was getting the ball and she was chucking them up there and they were dropping. But they could have gotten real tight with when Louisville started stretched out with those 3 balls started to drop for them, and they didn't. They just kept fighting.
No, I agree.
I put out there that I thought the player of the game was Key. She was just defensively, able to offensive, defensive rebound, especially late in the game. She was able to make key defensive plays, and all with 4 fouls. So staying aggressive but playing smart. She could easily found herself sitting on the bench, and we would have put in a vulnerable spot, because as you could tell, I'm sure from being there and like kind of immersed in the crowd, there was not a deep rotation there late in the game. Kenny Brooks had his 5, and he was going to run with those girls throughout.
That's who stuck with probably most of the third quarter and fourth quarter of our time with it. They were the starting 5. That was who he went with. And it needed to. As you talked about Georgia earlier, how he trusts her at one point. So whenever there's a media timeout, Brooks and all the other coaches go out on the floor and discuss what's going on, right? And the players go to the bench and they kind of rest. They pulled Georgia into that huddle with them. It's like, hey, like they were talking to, I guess, asking her, what are your thoughts, whatever, everything. So that goes to show the trust definitely that he has in her, right? To pull in the coach's huddle and say, hey, what are you seeing? But that was awesome. And those two talk the entire game. Like they're always communication the entire game. And Georgia this is crazy. She was calling the plays out that Louisville was running as they were calling them out. She was like, hey, this is this and this, like very well prepared. Obviously they played Louisville before the ACC, so, too, but she just knows what they're calling. And I think the biggest thing, especially in fourth quarter overtime, was Kentucky's defense, especially around like in the box, right? Like low post, free throw area in, and the rebounding was huge. They had so many blocks. I lost count of blocks they had in that time. And they seemed to get like every loose ball rebound that there was. I think if they'd done that the entire game, the game would not have been close, to be fair. I don't think it would have been, because they were killing it. Yeah.
And I agree with your statement about needing another ball handler, just a way to get out of that press, or even the simulated press, or because there were times, especially on a break, where we would get a rebound and want to push, or off a made basket and want to try to get it out quickly. If they would just ball deny Georgia, and nobody looked real comfortable dribbling it up the court, and it was like it was hot potato, right? They wanted that ball out of their hands as fast as possible.
It was two dribble stop, and they look around like, please help me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was one part where Kenny Brooks even had to call a timeout there late in the fourth quarter just to draw something up, because he just saw the turnover potentially coming as they weren't comfortable controlling the ball. But does Georgia, with before we wrap up the women's basketball, Georgia gives me like Tyler Eulis vibes of like how she runs the offense and how important she is.
Yep.
And that extra coach on the floor. I don't know what I was watching her play.
She's the floor general. She's their floor general. Like what she says goes, and that play is being ran. And if she adjusts, she adjusts. But she reads the floor so well, the defense so well. You can see her doing it. She's like, you can just watch her like mind going as she plays. And that's evident. She got to Louisville's running. I call them a jump trap, but they're running a jump trap where they would screen, and then they would trap her in the corner.
Yeah.
Wherever she was, so she couldn't get the ball out. She figured it out. She did a best of the game. She definitely did a spin straight to a 3 and hit it.
Oh yeah.
And after that, they're like, clutch. Okay, hold on now. So
yeah, that was one.
So she reads the floor so well.
Yeah, that was the one she like spun out of it, gathered dribble into
Yeah.
the three, and you're like, no, Cash. Okay, let's
I was
go.
like,
Good shot,
oh
Georgia.
my God.
Yeah. That was. But she definitely is. She's a key piece to this whole offense going. And her talent and her just dog kind of mentality and her experience in the system will be key. And her passing
and her
ability
conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. She's
she never came out the entire game. She played all 45 minutes.
Yeah, so I was going to say she must have played most of the game. I didn't know it was the entire game. So
she played the entire game. She's the only one that never came out of the game. I think Clara played the second most minutes.
So definitely
not
exciting
the
stuff
game too,
to
so.
see from the women's team, and what a complete turnaround. I mean, just what he did with a brand new team, collecting talent, and Kentucky getting a win. The first win against Louisville in 9 years. He does it in year one. So very impressive. We've been impressed with Kenny Brooks on this show, and just throughout the fan base has been impressed with him. He's got a swag about him that we all like.
He does.
And he's a little bit more reserved, I think, than Pope is, but he's got that reserved, but that. How would I describe it? He's got a reserved confidence about him, where just you see him on there.
Confidence, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely confident in his ability in the team that he has possessed, or team he has put together, and his ability to coach those girls. So massive win. Anytime we can roll around L's down and just remind Louisville that they are little brother, little sister. It's always a good day.
Little sibling forever.
Yep. So early on Saturday, Murray State game. Watching that game early on, I was very upset because we got. We don't have to necessarily go into the situation of, we thought Brock was going to be out for this game at least. He ends up starting. It was kind of funny, the heat that we took. And then the commentator said, Stoops said he planned on starting during his pregame presser, or I guess it was early in the week presser, but pregame they said, it was a game time decision. He wasn't really super healthy. So a little bit closer to him not playing than I think initially reported. It definitely seemed like Brock wasn't healthy, and I was, just upset again at the play calls. I'm, me being upset with Bush Hamden. I know, super, super surprised for anybody who listens to the show. But asking him on a bum shoulder to chuck the ball deep 50, 60 yards down the field on those, especially when he did it the first time and it was 5 yards short. We got lucky for a touchdown. Why not? Let's just do the same thing again and it be short and he get picked. Seemed like he did warm up a little bit, and Brock played well, was able to drive some of those medium level throws to Dane Key. And, as always, with his legs, he can be dangerous and he's not scared to take a hit.
Right.
We've said this throughout the season. Brock's mentality and his relentlessness and toughness. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just, he's a dog, man. And he is somebody who is not going to quit on this team. If he is medically cleared, whether he should be out there or not, he's going to play. So I think there is some onus that needs to be taken by the staff of protecting him. But just him getting out there and playing,
I would agree with that,
means a lot to the Big Blue Nation. And hopefully he got some time there in the second half. He didn't have to play because we were up big. And he'll have this week to get healthy and can go and hope maybe 89% of Brock will be good enough to keep the game close against Texas. We'll see. But what did you think of the game in the second half? So I think that was kind of the big story. That was what Big Blue Nation's been waiting for all year, was to see Cutter Boley come out and do some stuff.
Cutter, to be a freshman, he's impressive. I mean, he reached progressions really well. His throws were sharp. He had snap to them. I've said this since last year. I want this coaching staff to develop a quarterback from freshman on. Yeah. I want to watch them do that. I've never I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen them get a good quarterback in here as a freshman and then him be their starter when he's a senior. It's always a transfer.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't been the mold
And
as of late, from Will Levis on. Even before then, it was getting somebody to come in. And for Will, it worked year one. He got injured, didn't work year two. Leary was supposed to be a guy. He was kind of coming off an injury. I don't know what, he just couldn't really figure it out. He had flashes, but couldn't figure it out. Yeah, so,
right.
But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I think it's a combination of trying to get quarterbacks in for a 1-year rental on top of we have a new OC every freaking year. And we're not always hitting on those OCs. Yeah.
We can't keep doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely agree with you. Would be nice to have Cutter here for a couple years and watch him develop. I think he needs to develop on the field. I don't think that needs to start this year. But I think we need to focus on getting him the things that he needs to be successful as a sophomore and not look for a transfer QB in the portal. Maybe to bring somebody in because I think competition breeds success. We've said that before on this show.
Right.
But yeah, I would like to see Cutter as QB1 next year and not ask him to sit on the bench and just get some mental reps.
He's so talented.
Yeah, and you were talking about that
when he plays. He's so talented, and obviously he needs to work on his body some, right? Add some more muscle to him. He's a freshman, right? He's young. That comes with time and age, workouts, good nutrition. But yeah, I want them to do that so bad because it's not something we're used to, right? It's a new quarterback every single year. And granted, we have a new OC every single year too, but when we bring in a new quarterback, new OC, that's just so much that has to be put together and learned in a short amount of time. So I would like to, like you said, a consistent OC and have Cutter be a starter next year. It's not unheard of to have sophomore quarterbacks, especially if they're good. Like Tennessee's using Nico right now as a freshman, right? Like,
yeah,
let Cutter develop. He was a 5-star, right? So why not develop him? He was obviously talented enough in high school to rank that. So why not go with it? But again, I don't know.
Yeah, highly touted recruit. Deemed the next, Tim Couch-esque player, homegrown Lexington talent, had big time offers. Florida State was coming after him big. So like big time schools wanted him to represent them at the quarterback position. And in this day and age, you get a little nervous if someone comes to a school and expects to play or believes they are talented enough to play and their eligibility is kind of wasted as they sit on the bench. That homegrown love, that hometown love potentially fades when you have a Florida State or somebody, offer you an NIL bag to come there and play and actually get minutes on the field. But you mentioned Nico, and I 100% that's 100% agree with you there. With the Border Rivals podcast, we talked about this. Like Nico, Terrence is talking about how he likes what he sees from Nico. He is going through like in-game struggles. He's definitely not completely polished, but he has gotten better as he goes through the season, and he will continue to get better as he rolls through next season, right? So if Nico's playing well now to get Tennessee to a 2-loss record in the SEC behind a really good defense, next year he'll be, you would expect him to be developed by year 3 in his probably his last year, junior year. Now you're cooking with something, right? So let's do the same thing with Cutter. Let's see what he can do. The only reason why you wouldn't do that is if you don't see what we living up to the potential in practice. But again, that's not what we're hearing, right? We're hearing the boy can sling it in practice. We've
Brock not heard that at all. Yes.
Brock saying he's the most talented quarterback he's seen, right? And Brock spent friggin' years in Georgia, so surrounded by 5-stars. So yeah, agreed. Would love to see him. I will. Unless he proves me wrong, I truly believe throwing him out there next week in Austin is a big ask, and I hope they don't do that. The only reason why I would say move on to that is if it's like, hey, Brock just can't go. Like it just, we're going to rule him out because he's not healthy. Okay, then throw Cutter out there and hope he can, just grow up real quick.
Yeah.
Because
and
you
SEC
mentioned
show will be there too next week.
Yeah, so it's a big game, and Texas can't let this one slide. A loss to Kentucky, they only have 2 losses, but then they lose the tiebreaker to Georgia. So I think that would probably put them out of the SEC tournament. So they can't sleep on this Kentucky game, and we are in the let's just hope and show up to ruin somebody's season point of our season, right? So we're essentially not playing for much other than, can we roll into next season with some confidence in something like hey, so you go and beat Texas, you go and beat Louisville, you still look back and say this was a disappointing season, but at least you show that you have something to look forward to next year. And it is depressing to think of, but that's kind of just where we're at with Kentucky football this year. We're in the there's always next year mindset type thing. But you talked about him going through. You talked about Cutter going through Just it's like we're in that football cycle too often, unfortunately. But you said you noticed his going through progressions and he was looking off safeties. It definitely looked like those the better half of 2 weeks taking first team reps while Brock was kind of trying to get healthy, coming through the concussion protocol, and then we having that extra bye week this year. You could definitely tell that helped. And yes, it was Murray State, and yes, the talent isn't what he's going to see in the SEC, but you're seeing potential, and you hope that actually turns into results down the road.
Right.
And it didn't matter that it was Murray State or not. The boy had some swag on him. Every time he would throw it to, Brown Stevens, or he ran for the first down and he's sitting there, flexing on people, pointing to first down. It's like, all right, young buck. Like, I like that. I like the
it's like a little mini Will Levis. He's confident.
You need that as a quarterback, right? The quarterback needs to be borderline cocky, I think, to be successful in college and the pro. Like, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, even Brock Purdy, last pick, he's got a little bit of that dog swag in him when he's not scared to flex on you when he makes a play type thing. So I like that Cutter's got in him as a young kid, freshman. Now you just got to kind of put it all together. But any save rounds on the game? What do you think on the football game?
I don't have anything. It's Murray State, like you said. I mean, there was no way we should not have won that game.
I got one thing.
Okay.
Give number 9 the effing football, please. Please, Bush Hampton. If you can do me one favor, give Jamori Macklin the gosh dang football. Because every time you throw him the football,
literally all year.
Every time you throw him the football, he makes some circuit catch, and it's been in the end zone, the last 2 games. It doesn't matter if he's slight of build or shorter than the corner, or in a vulnerable position. He's got one hand down and he only can use the other one to catch the ball. He's gonna make a play. And I just need whoever the quarterback is when we play Texas to just say, you know what, the guy in my ear calling plays for me doesn't have it figured out, and I'm going to look at number 9 and go make a play. I'm going to throw you the ball. Just backyard football, because the dude has it. I went back and listened to. We've been saying
this all season, even before the season.
Yeah, I went back to listen to that episode.
This guy's so freaking talented.
Yeah, I went back and listened to that episode after the game, because we were putting out the tweets like we've been saying this all season, and I was like, let me go back and listen to it, and I forgot. That you were clowning me for like running routes in the kitchen and me standing up. I was like all out of breath explaining, getting all excited about what Jamori could do. But, it's just breaking down those 2 plays that he had at North Texas. It was a short little episode going over the wide receiver group. But I closed that whole wide receiver group conversation out with Bush Hampton has a wide receiver core, 3 dudes who he should have a field day drawing up plays for. And unfortunately, he's just missed again. And you can't tell me that it was a misassessment of talent when you see him make the plays that he's made. Even from game 1 of the season, when it almost got rain delayed, he threw, Brock throws him a bomb and he goes up and makes an incredible catch. So from the jump, he showed that he could do that. And I don't know where he goes next year. I just find a way to hold on to him. I don't know. It was such a wasted year for such a talented player. And I feel bad. It's kind of like how I
I'd
see.
be very frustrated if I was him.
Oh yeah, he got to be. And it's just like, how much more do I have to do? You throw the ball up to me, I'm coming down with it, and it's always going to be a big play when you need it. Like, you needed that play to keep us in the Florida game. You needed that play to get us up. This last game, Murray State. If he doesn't make that catch and we kick a field goal, yes, we're definitely going to win that game. But now we're up 24-0, and you feel good about Brock sitting the rest of the game and bringing Cutter in instead of it being 17 or whatever it was at the time. So he always making big plays when you need it. Just, I don't know, Bush call plays for him, or whether it's Brock or Cutter next week, just throw my guy the ball. He's going to make a play. He's going to make you look good. That's just, as a receiver, we're always open. That's just how we think. And he's proven that he's always open. It doesn't matter if there's a lot of separation or not. He's coming out with the football.
Man's got hands.
That's the last thing I have
Sticky
to say.
fingers.
Yeah, that's the last thing I have to say about that, at least for now. But the game of the week.
Let's get to the Tuesday game.
Blue Nation.
Tuesday game.
Oh my goodness. I was damn near in tears when we won that game. Go ahead. What did you think throughout the whole game up into like rejoice and just hallelujah when we see Duke fans just crying all over the place?
So, to be fair, we didn't play well at all.
Nope.
Like, at all. Like, we could not shoot worth a shit for majority of the game. We got bullied a little bit when they on defense. Okay, they kind of for a little bit got a little bit bullied. We did not rebound well first half. That's why we're down by 9, right? Like, we did not rebound well. But damn, this team has some fight in them.
Yes,
they were not going away. They were not gonna be like, all right, whatever, you win. Like, they were gonna be in Duke's face the entire time, and win or lose. And Mark upset after the game. He's like, we'll play you 40 minutes. Does not matter. But damn, they did not. They have fight. Mont Butler took over. Carr, listen. Carr.
Yep.
Carr.
He said, "I've beaten you before, Duke.
Fantastic game.
I know how to do it. Let me show you again."
Do it again.
Yep.
Right. And even though we didn't get a ton out of Robinson, they did guard him really, really tightly. Him and Kobe both. They were on them very tight the entire game. J-Rob still had a lot of good defensive plays. He cut a lot of deflections, being in the passing lanes, cutting drivers off. And Otega Owe is ridiculous. He is ridiculous.
Your player of the game, shout out.
He had a lot of grown. It was my player of the game. Yep. Between him and Carr, to be honest, like, it was really close. Carr the most points, but Owe had a lot of little things in the game that kept us in the game. Like the one rebound tip in that he was surrounded by 4 Duke players, so he tipped it in.
Yeah.
Right. He had a lot of grown man rebounds that kept them from it toward second half. And then like the end of the rebound last play of the game, he got the rebound between 2 Duke players over Flagg. Right. So like stuff like that. That's maturity. That's experience. That's talent. It's just But damn, I was so excited. I was trying to wake my whole house up. I was going nuts. Like, I was like, shh, don't yell. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is definitely the benefit of being out here, on PST, because it's, by the time the game was over, it was, it wasn't even bedtime for the boy yet. So like we were rejoicing But I was like, that game was coming to an end. We were sitting there on the live show. I'm hugging him like, oh my God, we're actually going to get one, dude. It's been so, like we haven't had a Champions Classic win in forever. It's all, last year was a moral victory because we were up 16 against Kansas and we didn't win, but we were like, oh, but these young kids can play, well, and Antonio Reeves is a guy and Rob Dillingham can make big shots. But this was one where before the game, I was confident that Kentucky was going to win. I truly had believed that they were going to win. True enough to where, money on the game, I'm putting my own dollar bills on the line because I believe this team is going to win. Now, at halftime, down 9, I was a little bit nervous.
You're like, shit.
Yeah, 10 minutes left to go in the second half. A lot of bit nervous because we kept kind of getting close, but never really putting the foot on the gas. And it wasn't until that under 4 timeout where we had gotten it close and the defense just locked in. And I've said it a couple times now, so I'm just kind of on repeat, but I think it's important to notice that there was halftime adjustments by Pope and the coaching staff that changed the way Kentucky played on offense and changed the way Duke could play on offense. Like our defense started to manipulate the game a little bit and they started putting pressure on some of these guys and said, okay, listen, we can't let Flagg and Nipple beat us. Right.
Yeah.
That's going to be his name for forever for me now. It's going to be Pooper, Flagg, and Nipple. I don't even know Nipple's first name, but it's just
Con. His name is Con Nipple. Just call him Nipple because at this point,
yeah. Anyways, so let's not get. I know you're on a tight schedule, so I'll try to keep myself on track. I know it's hard for me to do that.
You're fine. I have a couple minutes.
But yeah, so then the under the 4-minute adjustment where all of a sudden in key moments of the game, you either had Ortega guarding Cooper Flagg straight up or helping, which is the key turnover. I mean, my player of the game before it started was Amari Williams, and he made some big plays. But to be his size and to be a guy who mostly can play in the paint, we said offensively he can stretch the floor, but that switch that he had on Cooper Flagg carried him to the corner and then, made him turn that ball over. It was, okay, Cooper Flagg is a generational talent and he's going to be great. Like he has the ability he has all the tools that you need him to be, but he's still young. He's 17. So Pope is like, I'm going to put my experience and I'm going to put a lot of pressure down. I'm going to put the clamps on him. The vice grips are coming in, and can he elevate his game to close this out in a tight one? And the answer was no. He made turnovers back to back, and then couldn't box out Ortega, like you said, to get a rebound to even have a chance to make a 3 and tear it into overtime. So super impressed with the boys. Like I said earlier in the episode, I thought there was a lot of correlation between the women's win and the men's win. It was an ugly offensive performance. The best player on the team didn't play great, but they made plays when they needed to. For Jackson Robinson, it was defensively. He had a key block towards the end of the game on the layup to make him reset a possession. So there were. I think you have the best argument for Otegowe being like the player of the game. Maybe Andrew Carr, based off of the his clutch ability to the and one towards the end of the game was massive.
Multiple and ones, yeah.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about this team is you could make an argument for Ortega. Someone could make an argument for Barea because he hit those key threes to kind of keep us in the game and end a run for Duke when it could have gotten out of hand. That step back 3 that he hit with a guy in his face, the first one of the game I think was an air ball. So like his ability to kind of shake that off was massive. I think, like I said, we already talked about you can make an argument for Andrew Carr. I could make an argument based off of the intangibles and the defensive numbers that Amari was a guy. So that's what makes this team beautiful and what makes it deep and what makes it, it's all excited about a deep run is because Jackson Robinson can have 1 point and go 1 for 3 from a free throw line and be completely silent
Yes, I
offensively.
saw that.
And still win, right? So very, very
Mm-hmm.
impressive from the players on the court who had to step up. Our boy Ainsley had a big three in
He
the
did.
first half.
A couple of rebounds too.
Yeah, you never know who is going to be to come in that game. I will say, moving forward, I would like to see our post play get a little bit better. Our bigs are very talented, but when they're on the block and their backs are to the basket, and be able to either go over the left or right shoulder, that nice soft little bunny hook, or just some touch around the rim, that just isn't there yet. It's like a baby giraffe around there, like the feet all over the place, and they can't figure it out. It's just like, come on, guys, settle down. It's okay. Settle your feet. Go up strong. And we've seen Brandon Garrison. Like, you just stop with the little floater. Put somebody in a body bag. Just go up and just yam that rim. Break that damn thing. And just make a highlight. Dun dun. Top Sports Center play. Yeah. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Speaking of BG, he was really good in the second half. He also had a lot of those little things that helped kind of push Puke over the edge, right? He hustles his ass off. That kid runs the floor so daggone well. Like, for instance, when Butler missed the layup, he got there, clean up layup immediately, right? He was right there. And then, the ball from the corner that Duke saved in, he jumped in and got it, right? He played good defense. He had a couple of good blocks.
Yeah.
As well. The sky's the limit for him, I think. He's so athletic.
He was a big toe away from that three talent. Too.
Oh, I know. And just literally a big freaking toe at this point. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. But I would love to see him stay in development under Pope too.
Oh, yeah, I think he will.
Scott, like I said, he's so talented. He's so athletic. So
we talked about him. I think the only way he leaves is if for some reason he's a high second round draft pick, and if that's the case, then that probably means he did develop under Pope, but it was within a season, this season, and not multiple seasons,
right?
Which is good if you're a Kentucky fan, and are strive to get banner number 9 this year. But before we close this thing out, we've gone a whole 10 minutes to talk about Kentucky basketball, and didn't mention Kerr Kriisa. My guy. I love this man to death.
I love him so much.
I bought a jersey. I got a Kerr Kriisa jersey. I have normally I only buy 14 jerseys because that's my number. And Michael Kidd Gilchrist and Tyler Hero are two of my favorite Kentucky players of all time.
Right.
I made a caveat to this one because 7 + 7 is 14, so I'm like, that's close enough for me. And
there you go. It's close
Kerr Kriisa is just every time he combs that little mustache, when he combs that little goofy ass mustache of his, I'm just like, oh, he means business. He ain't messing around now. The finger comb mustache, yeah. The way he was clapping it and talking, and I tell you what, if that heat check 3 from the logo would have gone in, they might as well have shut that place down because Big Blue Nation would have just blown the roof off. And there was no question he was going to shoot. He was, looking around kind of as the crowd is screaming. You didn't want him to shoot it, but you knew he was going to, and you just got to hope it was going in. But he is someone who and you mentioned this before when we were kind of like previewing the Duke game, how fast he makes the game go without making it.
He speeds it up. He gets the ball up the court so fast. Like, he makes everyone else play faster. He plays under control though.
Right.
He just goes, and he's the man's a freaking menace. He's a menace. But I love it. He's the villain that, like, I think I tweeted this. He's the villain we didn't know we needed. Right? Yeah. Like, I think it's funny, all these Duke fans, oh, you don't mess with him. I'm like, listen, he went toe-to-toe with the Serbians, okay? He does not give two shits who you are.
No, he don't care.
That man does not care.
No, yeah, he's been playing overseas ball since he was a teenager and, young teenager.
Right.
he ain't, the classic photo of him and Luca staring each other down, like he does not, he doesn't care. He's there to have a good time. He knows he's talented.
He doesn't care.
No, but he's like a gnat at a barbecue, man. Like he's just going to be flying around, buzzing, irritating the hell out of you. Until you leave. So, it's he is a guy.
I love him.
I
love him so much.
Yep. Yeah. And if he wasn't on Kentucky and we had to play against them, we would talk about how much we hate him. But guess what? He is in blue and white, and he's on our team, and he represents Big Blue Nation and this team, and we love him. And I hope we get a lot of Kirk. I know we're going to get a lot of Kirk Creesa moments this season that are going to have us talking and have us excited.
Him and his talking shit after the game too.
Oh yeah,
I love him.
Yeah, he is the number one draft pick, but we got the win. So, and he does it in a way where he has plausible deniability. Like, no, I was just making a statement. I wasn't talking. But he is he. Not only does he talk trash, and does he, like you said, he is that menace. But he's just another dude that's also so talented on this team, and is going to be a guy who has a massive game. The Jackson Robinson 30-point game is inevitable. The Lamont Butler lockdown doesn't let number one on a team score, and we win a game that way is inevitable. The Kobe Barea, 7-8 threes in a game is inevitable, and the Kirk Creesa, making a clutch shot or coming in off the bench and going off for 20 is inevitable. Like, there's just so many ways this team can win, and like I said, the Duke performance was one where you could see that this team still needs a lot of coming together. But guess what? They still got to freaking win. I almost didn't freaking on that one. They still got to win. I almost let one slide. Mom would have been upset. Mom would have been real mad at me. But they still got to win, and it was super impressive. I'll say it again.
Speaking of, they have dropped the Journey Champions Classic on Twitter.
Oh, finally!
So if you don't know that yet, BBN, go. It's 14 minutes long. I cannot wait to watch them. We're done recording. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we've been waiting patiently. I don't know if we've been waiting patiently, but we've been waiting.
There's no patiently to this. We've been fiending for this. So yeah, it dropped 25 minutes ago. I am very excited. So
all right. Well,
yay.
I think that means we need to go ahead and stop this show and go watch it. If you're listening, hopefully you've already seen it. If not, go check it out. We'll definitely be we'll repost again, sharing it as well. But Salena, hey, let's hope this high wave keeps riding it. We continue to. We're going to have some lumps. There's going to be some losses, but ultimately, I think what we saw this week was. It's a big step moving forward, and Pope has silenced a whole
new era across the board. I think right now,
whole new era.
It's
a lot of haters being silenced.
Yep,
and we might be coming on next week with another top recruit locking himself into Kentucky too. So like the wins are stacking. They're stacking. Boom. But good luck with what you got going on tonight.
People hate BBN because we're unbearable.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Who cares? If you don't like us, come join us. You know what? That's the only way that's the only way to get around it. It's truly the only way to get around it because we ain't stopping. You either can come join the blue and white or just stay back there and bitch about it. I don't care. But like I said, good luck with what you got going on tonight. Big football game coming up this evening for most of Big Blue Nation who are Cincinnati fans. We'll see if Joe Burr and can get a big win against the Chargers. But I look forward to another game on Tuesday against Lipscomb. Tough team. I think they've shown some talent. I believe they played Arkansas and actually played them pretty tough, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
So let's hope the boys are out there ready and don't sleep on some on a team after a big win. And I look forward to another show with you next week.
Yes, sir. As always,
all right.
Go Cats.
Go Cats. Bleed blue.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.